Music education is something full of variables, and each individual will experience it different than others. To compare and contrast aspects of one's musical experiences that would lead them to continue music education or not, I've conducted interviews between my personal high school teacher and another one of his students also attending Western University. Through the course of this video, I'll try my best to highlight just about 3 of the most important themes I noticed. So firstly is my influential music teacher, Christopher Uchida, Head of Arts at Sir William Mulock Secondary School in Newmarket, Ontario. He has by far been the most influential teacher in my life, especially in relation to music. His role in my music education was the reason I chose to pursue music at a post-secondary level and to hopefully, to one day become a music educator as well. Secondly is Dana Kelsey, first-year kinesiology student at Western University, a fellow student of Ms. Uchida as well. She was a clarinet player for 4 years in the school's ensembles and took the instrumental class for just about 3 years, only not taking it in grade 12 to make room for university-required electives. Both Mr. Uchida and Dana have very similar backgrounds with music leading up to their life in university. Mr. Uchida took lessons for piano and drums starting from a pretty young age and proceeded to participate in music education throughout high school. Dana's experiences with music come from listening to music on the radio with her family. That was a bit of a bonding point with them, as well as taking an interest in the clarinet starting in elementary school, continuing onwards to go through music education in high school. The two aspects that kind of join the two together well is the timing of when they were introduced, as well as the basis of their musical experience being built upon self-interest. One theme I really tried to dig into was both their own personal definition of music education, or what music education means to them, or kind of some benefits that they associate with it. And Ms. Uchida and Dana were very similar in the sense that they believe that music education as a whole is something that inspires creativity in a positive environment, while also remaining engaging and fun. Mr. Uchida, naturally as a teacher, had a more in-depth response of what he believes to be the definition of music education.
What's your current philosophy on teaching?
Ooh, that's a good one. That's a big one. I have a mission statement that I came up here. Sorry, I'm just gonna walk off.
That's all right.
I'll grab it for you. Can you ask that question again? Philosophy of...
What is your current philosophy on teaching?
Okay, I'll hold this to see it. But like, when I came to Mulock, I was like, okay, what is this program going to be about? So to inspire positive and dedicated community of musical leadership. So
first and foremost, I was incredibly interested by the fact that it came out in the form of a printed mission statement, and I think setting out that set of rules and goals for yourself is a very good way to keep them in mind. More importantly, however, is the actual content of the message. For those of you who didn't quite get to read the whole thing while I was up there, it says, to inspire a positive and dedicated community of musical leaders through authentic opportunities and transparent evaluations of the curriculum. I think it does a really good job at encompassing the values of music education and really highlighting some important aspects we can often overlook, such as real performance opportunities outside of a test environment. The last general theme I wanted to take a look at were the challenges faced within music education, especially between student and teacher. Now, this is one I was pretty interested in because I had an incredibly positive music experience at my high school, but I know that others kind of in that same environment didn't feel the exact same way. So being able to kind of talk with somebody from my high school about how they felt about the music program as a whole I was very intrigued to kind of see what they had in store in terms of challenges. Now, Mr. Uchida described his challenges being a lot of workplace stress, kind of having to work with so many different individuals and a lot of different personality types, as well as the fact that he has to be constantly adapting to the wants and needs of students. Every year he tries his best to change aspects of assignments based upon how students did it with previous years, and some, because of this, get easier, for the sake of being manageable. And some weren't challenging enough for the students and were given more depth to better suit their growth as musicians. More interestingly enough, though, for me, was Dana's response to the challenges she faced during her music education.
One thing I didn't like is that it focuses a lot on the talents of individuals, and if you're not one of the individuals with like amazing talent, especially in like a band scenario, you're often like kind of left behind and forgotten about. If you're not the one like playing the best solo or just like nailing your part every time, you're often left behind or forgotten. And it's hard to ask for help when you're not getting things because in a band scenario, you're surrounded by people who all understand it. And so when you feel like you're being left behind and not being nurtured the same as the kids who were naturally talented, it just kind of discouraged you.
Now, this is not to say that Dana did not have fun with music. She most certainly did. But this perspective does give us a lot as potential future educators to work with. This is a case of a student that didn't quite make it into those adjustments that Uchida was talking about. You know, a student who was there and participated in music, but wasn't necessarily at the same level as her peers around her. And when that happens, it's pretty easy to feel left out. And it kind of leads us to ask ourselves, well, what else can I do to make this a good working environment? How can I make sure that everybody feels included equally? How can I acknowledge individual students in a band scenario so everybody feels equal to another? They're all great things to think about that can lead to overall improvement in the quality of our music programs, and I'm sure Mr. Uchida is going to keep striving to really achieve that in the future. All things considered, the interviews with them provided a lot of really useful content on the subject of music education, in my opinion. Here we had two people, both with very similar musical background, fueled by self-interest, started at a young age, both having very similar definitions as to just what music education is to them, believing in fun, inclusive, engaging environments that inspire creativity within students. Only one of them went on to pursue music education post-secondary, though, and part of that can be attributed to self-interests and focuses lying elsewhere. Dana is somebody who, has taken a big interest in the sciences, and that's something she had kind of already had her mind set out to do beforehand. But perhaps with a better experience within music education, it may have been something Dana would have wanted to pursue after high school. And also, in extension of that, it's important to realize that not everybody will always be willing to or want to continue afterwards. But I believe it's Uchida's goal and our goal as future educators to find the best way to incorporate music into people's lives, regardless of if they continue with it or not. But hopefully that they will, no matter what. Thank you for your time.